Okay, so now this is really disturbing. I wrote this yesterday and I'm still disturbed 24 hours later. Apparently the National Institutes of Health has been monitoring social media, identifying and analyzing hundreds of thousands of personal tweets that have expressed, quote, trends of anti-vaccination beliefs on Twitter. In an article reporting the results of their analysis, researchers wrote, quote, the volume of online anti-vaccine beliefs is alarming and may indicate shifts in public opinion which can translate to lower vaccine coverage, end of quote. Now, in justification for this project, which I am a little concerned about, the article states that, quote, monitoring anti-vaccination beliefs on Twitter can uncover vaccine-related concerns and misconceptions, serve as an indicator of public opinion, and equip pediatricians to refute anti-vaccine arguments. Real-time interventions are needed to counter anti-vaccination beliefs online. Identifying clusters of anti-vaccine beliefs can help public health professionals disseminate targeted and tailored interventions to geographic locations and demographic sectors of the population. Now, I'm going to come back to that because this is, you'll understand what I'm concerned about in a minute. The analysis showed that anti-vaccine tweets are more likely to be from women who have delivered a child in the last 12 months, from people living in households with an income of $200,000 or more, and from men between the ages of 40 and 44 who have at least some college education. Asians were significantly more likely to be anti-vaccine than other racial groups. Anti-vaccine autism tweets seem to coincide with both the release of new reports on vaccines and to take place more around August or September when kids are going back to school and school officials are nagging parents about vaccinations. The researchers refer to this type of data gathering as quote-unquote social listening, which results in the observation and quantifying of changes of opinion. Now, what is this really all about? The NIH is identifying and gathering data on particular Americans and groups of Americans who tweet about vaccines. I'm sure that this information will be used to help pediatricians craft better sales pitches designed to overcome the objections from parents who question vaccines or refuse to vaccinate their children. But the real purpose of the program, in my opinion, is to identify and create a database of individuals who are what I call vaccine dissenters, who may be targeted at some point in time, particularly if vaccine rates continue to fall as they are right now. And if you don't think that the government targets people, let me assure you from personal experience that they absolutely do. The government has, in fact, broad powers to arrest and incarcerate enemies of the state, including those who interfere with anything that is deemed essential to the public interest. Now, this is where things get really chilling. So I went to the Centers for Disease Control website to look at what type of enforcement is really available to the state, the government, if they choose to do it. And I found a document posted there which includes a section called Police Power, which details the ability of the government to override personal choice in vaccine matters, specifically vaccine matters. The document also includes this statement, quote, school vaccination requirements have been a key factor in the prevention and control of vaccine-preventable diseases in the United States. Their constitutional basis rests in the police power of the state. And then it goes on to say more. This is really concerning, and I want you to ask yourself this. What if this same strategy were to be applied to something else, like Second Amendment rights or political affiliations? A branch of government could download and analyze tweets in order to figure out how to craft messages, some of which may be false. I mean, let's face it, much of the information distributed by the government about vaccines is patently false, to convince people to change their minds about gun ownership or which political party they choose to belong to. I mean, the news already does a pretty good job of promoting false information without any assistance, additional assistance from the government. Well, here's my opinion. This country was founded on the premise that people can say and do what they want to without government interference. While it's true that the tweets are in the public domain, the expectation, I think at least for me and most people, is that Big Brother is not gathering data from such resources in order to promote its own agenda. As for the claim that the information is going to be used to quote-unquote educate people in targeted areas and tailor the messages based on demographics, this is nonsense. The government and drug makers are very aware, and they already know that education campaigns regarding vaccines do not work and often lead to the opposite of the desired effect. One study, for example, showed that public health communications about vaccines sometimes further reduce vaccination rates, and attempts to, quote, correct false claims about vaccines may be especially likely to be counterproductive, end of quote. Well, the quickest solution to this is to dismantle as many government agencies and programs as possible and return control to local and state government. And I personally am committed to voting out of office anybody who does not vote for smaller government and less federal intervention. So all in all, a very concerning issue. I mean, the government is watching everything. I mean, it's one thing to watch for terrorist activity. It's another thing to try to figure out who the vaccine dissenters are around the United States and have discussions about what we're going to do about such people, because I'm one of those people. Many of you are some of those people, and we inevitably would be part of the targeted group. All right, that's all for today.